All right, welcome back to RJK English. Make sure to like and subscribe so that I can keep making these. Let's continue with I put chapter 7 on it. Chapter 6. Siddhartha is going to work for Kamaswami. All right. We talked last time that Siddhartha does not let himself be seen as lesser than Kamaswami. And we're going to see the struggle between Kamaswami and not a struggle from Siddhartha, but Kamaswami keeps wanting to put Siddhartha under him because he wants to have power over him. He, Siddhartha, was not long in Kamaswami's house when he was already taking part in his master's business. So Kamaswami is entrusting his business to Siddhartha. Daily, however, at the hour she invited him, he, Siddhartha, visited the beautiful Kamala in handsome clothes and fine shoes, and soon he also brought her presents. This is all that Kamala asked of him, right? He learned many things from her wise red lips. Her smooth, gentle hand taught him many things. We know what she's teaching Siddhartha. Her smooth, gentle hand taught him many things. He who was still a boy, as regards love, was inclined to plunge to the depths of it blindly and insatiably. Okay, so he was still a boy in regards to love. He had not been in a relationship with a woman, whether physically or emotionally or anything before this. So remember, Siddhartha wanted to see what the world was like. He's getting experience, right? Was taught by her that one cannot have pleasure without giving it, and that every gesture, every caress, every touch, every glance, every single part of the body has its secret, which can give pleasure to one who can understand. She taught him that lovers should not separate from each other after making love without admiring each other, without being conquered as well as conquering, so that no feeling of satiation, that means being satisfied, or desolation arises, nor the horrid feelings of misusing or having been misused. He spent wonderful hours with the clever, beautiful courtesan and became her pupil. This means her student, her lover, her friend. Here with Kamala lay the value and meaning of his present life, not in Kamaswami's business. So Siddhartha values his time with Kamala more than the business. Okay, many of us are like this. We work, but that's not where our heart is. Some people it is. They love business, they love work. Maybe you're in a type of work that is really what you want to do. But many people love being with their family, or maybe they're young and they want to experience dating in a big city or something like that, which Siddhartha seems to be enjoying, you know. The merchant passed on to him, so Kamaswami passed on to Siddhartha, the writing of important letters and orders, which grew accustomed to conferring with him about all important affairs, and grew accustomed, sorry. The merchant passed on to him the writing of important letters and orders, and grew accustomed to conferring with him about all important affairs. So now he's giving Siddhartha parts of the business to do, and he's also asking Siddhartha's advice and talking with him about things. He's trusting Siddhartha more. He soon saw that Siddhartha understood little about rice and wool, little about shipping and trade, but that he had a happy knack. A knack is a strange ability. Like if I play guitar and I have this knack for finding a good melody, a lot of times it's something that can't be taught. It's a slight ability that you have that's kind of unique. So he had a happy knack and surpassed the merchant in calmness and equanimity. He never got passionate. And in the art of listening and making a good impression on strange people. Okay, so Siddhartha doesn't know a lot about the business in general, but he was calm and gave a good impression to people. And he was good at listening to people. This Brahmin, Kamaswami said to a friend, is no real merchant and will never be one. He is never absorbed in the business. But he has the secret of those people to whom success comes by itself, whether it is due to being born under a lucky star, or whether it is magic, or whether he has learned it from the samanas. He always seems to be playing at business. It never makes much impression on him. It never masters him. He never fears failure. That's a very important point. He never fears failure. He is never worried about a loss. I wouldn't recommend this to you, but there is some power to this. The friend advised the merchant, so the friend of Kamaswami advised Kamaswami, give him a third of the profits of the business which he conducts for you, but let him also share in the same proportion of losses, if any arise. He will thus become more enthusiastic. Do you see what the friend has recommended? This is what everybody does that you work for. They try to find a way to make you attached to them and to work harder. They want to get more work out of you. And they want to connect you to that business so that you don't leave. But they still want you to be happy so that they make more money than you. Give him a third of the profits. So that's an incentive. We would call that an incentive. But also give him a disincentive. Let him share in the same proportion of losses. So Siddhartha would get a third of the profits of the business that he's over, but also if there's losses, he would get a third of the losses. He will then become more enthusiastic. That's the friend's advice. Kamaswami followed his advice, but Siddhartha was little concerned about it. It didn't matter to him. If he made a profit, he accepted it calmly. If he suffered a loss, he laughed and said, oh well, this transaction has gone badly. He did, in fact, seem indifferent about business. Once, when it says once, this means they're going to tell a story, a particular story. Once, Siddhartha traveled to a village in order to buy a large rice harvest. When he arrived there, the rice was already sold to another merchant. However, Siddhartha remained in the village for several days. He entertained the farmers, and gave money to the children, attended a wedding, and returned from the journey completely satisfied. Kamaswami reproached him. He talked angrily to him for not returning immediately, for wasting time and money. Siddhartha replied, do not scold, my dear friend. He didn't say don't scold me. He gave him advice, don't scold. Don't scold, my friend. Nothing was ever achieved by scolding. If a loss has been sustained, I will bear the loss. I am very satisfied with this journey. I have become acquainted with many people. I have become friendly with a Brahmin. Children have sat on my knee. Farmers have shown me their fields. Now, this might sound caste-oriented. I became friends with a Brahmin. It probably can be taken as I became friends with a priest. Nobody took me for a merchant. No one even thought of him as a merchant. He became what? He became kind of their friend. They liked him. That is all very fine, admitted Kamaswami reluctantly. But you are in fact a merchant, or were you only traveling there for pleasure? Certainly I traveled for my pleasure, laughed Siddhartha. Siddhartha is ruining everything Kamaswami does. Kamaswami keeps trying to tie him into being a merchant, and Siddhartha throws it off. Certainly I traveled for my pleasure, laughed Siddhartha. Why not? I have become acquainted with people in new districts. I have enjoyed friendship and confidence. Now, if I had been Kamaswami, I should have departed immediately, feeling very annoyed when I saw I was unable to make a purchase, and time and money would indeed have been lost. But I spent a number of good days, learned much, and had much pleasure, and did not hurt either myself or others through annoyance or hastiness. If I ever go there again, perhaps to buy a later harvest, or for some other purpose, friendly people will receive me, and I will be glad that I did not previously display hastiness and displeasure. This is a very good piece of advice. Even in starting a business, if you act too much as a merchant, you have not become anyone's friend. in a way, you have to show care for people. And if you do that, they will be happy to do business with you later. If you take care of others, they will take care of you. Anyway, let it rest. Anyway, let it rest, my friend. Sorry, one more. Anyway, let it rest, my friend, and do not hurt yourself by scolding. If the day comes when you think, this Siddhartha is doing me harm, just say one word and Siddhartha will go on his way. Until then, however, let us be good friends. That is true power. Siddhartha, we would call this calling someone's bluff. So in this, Kamaswami was a bit threatening Siddhartha without saying it, that he could fire Siddhartha. But Siddhartha says it before he does. If you're not happy, just tell me and I will leave. He doesn't say it angrily. That takes away a lot of power. Now, I would not recommend you to do that unless you really have something that the owner cannot do without. Maybe if you are a professional soccer player, a football player or something, you can say, hey, if you don't like it, I can leave. That you have a lot of power in that. Okay. Until then, however, let us be good friends. Okay. I'm going to stop here because we're going kind of long. We will start up right here on the next one. So really good spending time with you. I'll see you next time.